Have you ever wondered what money is really made of? In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the history of money, gold, and currency manipulation. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of the complex world of money, gold, and currency manipulation. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Imagine a world where money is not just paper bills and digital numbers in our bank accounts. Instead, real objects like gold and silver serve as the foundation for money. These precious metals are valuable because they are rare and durable. They are also easy to divide and transport, making them ideal for use as money. Throughout the 1800s, bimetallism was very popular. The most advantageous aspect of bimetallism was that it allowed countries to have a larger stock of precious metals to circulate money. Suppose you got a chest full of treasure, a mix of money and gold coins. This mix of gold and money is what we call a bimetallic standard. It's like having two different types of currency in circulation, both backed by the value of a physical commodity. In this case, gold and silver each have their own unique uses. 19th and 20th century monetary systems dramatized economics, politics, and power in a complex waltz. Let's journey through this captivating tale. Presume a time when nations grappled with the complexities of their monetary systems. Two primary standards took center stage: the gold standard and the bimetallic standard. The gold standard, a symbol of stability, meant that a country's currency was directly tied to a fixed amount of gold, fostering trust in the monetary system. Meanwhile, the bimetallic standard added a dash of diversity, using both gold and silver as the basis for currency. Let's set the stage in the United States during this period. The US initially embraced the bimetallic standard, with gold and silver coins circulating alongside one another. But as the global economy evolved, gold emerged as the darling of international trade. Why? Because it offered stability and universal acceptance. In the year 1900, the US decided to make the switch to the gold standard. However, this move wasn't without controversy. Imagine passionate debates and political maneuvering as silver miners and advocates of bimetalism cried foul. They feared that the gold standard would favor the elite and harm the average worker. It's like a political thriller, with the fate of the nation hanging in the balance. Assume that a country relies on a bimetallic standard to underpin its monetary system. In this system, the value of its currency is tied to both gold and silver. Specifically, the government has set a fixed exchange rate where 1 ounce of gold is equivalent to 15 ounces of silver. This essentially serves as the bedrock for their monetary stability. Now, let's introduce a twist to our scenario. The market dynamics started to shift, and the price of silver began to decline. This is a game changer because it impacts the balance between gold and silver in the country's monetary system. As a result, 1 ounce of gold suddenly finds itself worth not 15, but 20 ounces of silver. This shift in relative values means that the country's currency is now undervalued compared to its previous status quo. Why does this matter on a global scale? Well, it's all about competitiveness in international trade. When a country's currency becomes undervalued, its exports become more attractive to foreign buyers. In essence, their goods and services become cheaper when priced on the international market. This newfound competitiveness can lead to a surge in exports, potentially boosting the country's economy. If you are enjoying the video, please like and share it. Subscribe to get more such videos later. Moving back to the topic now. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Enter the specter of currency manipulation. Governments were often tempted to manipulate their currency values to gain economic advantages, just like players in a high-stakes poker game holding their cards close to their chests. They might devalue their currency to boost exports or inflate it to reduce debt. The world watched in suspense as countries used these tactics to outwit each other on the global economic stage. At this time, fast forward to the 20th century, a time of great economic turbulence, notably during the Great Depression. Imagine countries like Britain grappling with economic woes, making a bold decision reminiscent of a suspense movie plot. They decided to abandon the gold standard in the 1930s, like a character deciding to cut ties with a shady partner. World War I brought about political changes, mounting international debt, and deteriorating public finances, yet the gold standard persisted. At the same time, there was a desire among countries to return to the gold standard. As gold supplies continue to drive growth in the global economy, the British pound sterling and the US dollar become global reserve currencies. Small countries began to hold more of these currencies instead of gold. The result was a concentration of gold in the hands of a few large groups. In our modern era, we've moved away from the gold standard entirely, embracing fiat currency that is not tied to physical assets like gold or silver. This has given governments more flexibility in managing their economies, but has also raised new challenges in preventing currency manipulation. Government-issued fiat money lacks a tangible asset like gold as a backing. Because they can manage the amount of money printed, central banks using fiat money have more power over the economy. The majority of contemporary paper currencies, including the dollar, are fiat currencies. Governments and financial institutions sometimes choose the plot thickness system because they are very cunning people to manipulate. They might do this by changing the ratio of gold to money in circulation. Imagine if they suddenly decided to mint more money but didn't actually have the gold to back it up. Sneaky, right? This manipulation can have several consequences. First, it can lead to inflation because there's more money floating around than there is gold to support it. This can make your money worth less over time, like when you saved up for a cool toy as a kid, but then it became more expensive by the time you had enough. On the flip side, if they decide to decrease the money supply and rely more on gold, it can lead to deflation, where prices drop because there's less money available to spend. Suppose you've been working hard and cutting back on your expenses, and you finally saved up enough money to buy it. You go to the store and are excited to see that the toy is on sale. You can now buy it for even less than you were expecting. This is deflation in action. Deflation is when prices fall because there is less money available to spend. This can happen when a government decides to decrease the money supply. When there is less money in circulation, people tend to hold on to it rather than spend it. This leads to a decrease in demand, which in turn leads to a decrease in prices. Deflation can have some positive effects. For example, it can make it easier for people to pay off their debts. It can also encourage people to save money, which can help boost the economy. However, deflation can also have some negative effects. For example, it can lead to job losses as businesses may have to cut costs in order to stay afloat. It can also make it difficult for businesses to borrow money, as lenders may be less willing to lend money when prices are falling. Why would governments play these tricks? Well, it can be to manage their finances, stimulate or cool down their economies, or even pay off debts. Sometimes it's done with good intentions, but it can also lead to unintended consequences. One famous example of this is the gold rush era in the United States. When gold was discovered, it led to a surge in gold production, and the government had to decide how to incorporate all this newfound wealth into the monetary system. They opted for a Bimetallic Standard, which was later manipulated and caused economic turmoil. What makes this tale truly beautiful is how money, gold, bimetallic standards, and currency manipulation are all interconnected threads in the rich tapestry of economic history. These stories tell us about nations making critical decisions that not only shape their economies but also influence the entire global financial landscape. It's a captivating drama that reminds us of the enduring power of economic policy in the pages of history. In the end, these manipulations can have far-reaching effects on a nation's economy and its citizens' financial well-being. So, it's always interesting to keep an eye on the twists and turns of the money, gold, and Bimetallic Standard saga. Who knows what the next chapter will bring? Maybe we'll see a return to the gold standard, or maybe we'll find a new way to manage the global economy. What do you think?